Good evening, dear students. Welcome. This is another session about Unit 12, Lesson A, Simple Past Passive. Okay, so we already saw a tutorial about passive voice, Introduction to Passive Voice. Now, in this section, we're going to concentrate only on Lesson A, Unit 12, Simple Past Passive Voice. Okay, all right, so let's get started. Okay, so here we have active and passive examples. Okay, but before we start with these, let's take a look at one video, okay, on dialogue about two people in the Cambridge platform here. Okay, so lesson A is called local news. Okay, so we're gonna listen a dialogue between Ruth and Jack. Okay, where they use passive voice. Okay, let's see.
Unit 12. In the News. Lesson A. Local News. 1. Getting Started. B. Listen. Jack is telling Ruth some local news. Complete the sentences.
Anything interesting in the paper?
Oh, not much. Let's see. $10,000 was found in a bag on a city bus.
$10,000? I should ride the bus more often.
Yeah, and listen to this. 2 large bears were seen last night in someone's yard.
Huh, that's kind of scary.
Oh, and a jewelry store was broken into, and some diamonds were stolen. What else? The city airport was closed yesterday because of strong winds.
Really? Well, it was pretty windy.
Yeah, all the flights were delayed. Oh, and a bus was hit by a falling tree. Fortunately, the passengers weren't hurt.
Is that all? Nothing exciting, I guess.
They are using passive voice, simple past. Okay, so let's see. Here it is. Okay, was found. $10,000 was found. Okay. 2 bears were seen last night. Okay. Then the jewelry store was broken into, and some diamonds were stolen. Okay, the city airport was closed yesterday, and all the flights were delayed. Okay, a bus was hit by a falling tree, and the passengers weren't hurt. Okay, so we're going to listen a second time, but this time I want you to pay attention to the parts in the dialogue that are highlighted. Okay, and then we're going to continue with the PowerPoint. Okay, so let's listen one more time.
Page 118. Unit 12. In the News. Lesson A. Local News. 1. Getting Started. B. Listen. Jack is telling Ruth some local news. Complete the sentences.
Anything interesting in the paper?
Oh, not much. Let's see. $10,000 was found in a bag on a city bus.
$10,000? I should ride the bus more often.
Yeah, and listen to this. 2 large bears were seen last night in someone's yard.
Huh, that's kind of scary.
Oh, and a jewelry store was broken into, and some diamonds were stolen. What else? The city airport was closed yesterday because of strong winds.
Really? Well, it was pretty windy.
Yeah, all the flights were delayed. Oh, and a bus was hit by a falling tree. Fortunately, the passengers weren't hurt.
Is that all? Nothing exciting, I guess.
All right, so as you can see, Ruth and Jackie are all the news that they are telling. They are mentioning the doer. No se está mencionando el autor de la acción. What is important here is the news. Okay, what happened? Know who did it. Okay, very good. So let's continue with the PowerPoint. Okay, so that is passive voice. Okay, so here we have active and passive examples. All right, so look, it says the dog was chewing the shoe. Yeah, you have to circle the subject. The subject is the dog. Okay, the dog, that's right. The dog is the subject in the sentence, the dog. Now find the verb and put a box around it. Have you drawn the box in the right place? Why is the box around both was and chewing? The dog was actively chewing the shoe, so this is an active sentence, okay? So here, look, as answering the question that is here, why is the box around was and chewing? Because this is past, but it is past continuous, okay? Was chewing, so this is the verb. Verb to be plus the verb in ing, okay? The dog was actively chewing the shoe, so this is an active sentence. Look, the dog was chewing the shoe, so the author of the action is the dog. Okay? How can we change the sentence around? The shoe was being chewed by the dog. Okay? The shoe was being chewed by the dog. So now the shoe is the subject of the sentence. Okay? The shoe. Where is the verb in this sentence? Was being chewed. That's correct. Did you get it right? What is happening to the shoe? Okay, so we changed active to passive voice. Very good. So, the shoe was being chewed by the dog. It's a passive voice sentence. The subject is the shoe. It's not doing anything, and it is passively having something done to it. It is being chewed, o sea, el zapato está siendo comido o masticado por el perro. Okay, very good. Is this sentence active or passive? Now let's see. Sarah was drawing a picture. Sarah was drawing a picture. Yeah? So this is active voice. Look, Sarah was drawing a picture. So Sarah is the doer of the action. Good. Sarah was drawing a picture. Yeah? So this sentence is active voice because Sarah is actively drawing the picture. The window was broken by Kelly. Is this sentence active or passive? It's passive. Very good. Let's see why. The window was broken by Kelly. The sentence is in passive voice because the subject of the sentence is the window. The window had something done to it. Okay? Kelly broke it. Kelly was the one who broke it, but the window was broken. Is that the window received the action. Okay? Now, formation in the past. Okay, we're going to focus right now on the passive voice past, which corresponds to Unit 12, Lesson A. Okay, so look at this. Okay, so what is the formation? What is the formula? Is the subject plus the past form of the verb to be, which is was and were, and the past participle of the verb, which is the third form of irregular verbs. Don't forget that the past participle of irregular verbs, you have to learn them. The past participle of regular verbs they have an ed ending. Okay, so for example, look, Charles wrote a book. This is an active voice sentence. A book was written by Charles. Okay, Charles cleaned the windows. The windows were cleaned by Charles. Okay, so these two sentences we are using this formula. Subject, a book, subject, the windows. Past form of the verb to be, was and were, plus the past participle of the verb, written and cleaned. Okay, very good. Now, look at this, active and passive. So let's see. Active voice, I wrote a book, you wrote a book, he wrote a book, we wrote a book, you wrote a book, and they wrote a book. Change them to passive voice. A book was written by me. A book was written by you. A book was written by him. A book was written by us. A book was written by you. A book was written by them. Okay? So look at this. Look how the subject changes to object pronouns, and the object pronouns also change to subject pronouns when we change from active to passive voice. Okay? So I changes to me. You changes to you. He changes to him. We changes to us. You changes to you is the same, and they changes to them. Okay? Yeah? All right. Remember that the agent goes at the end of the sentence, so that's why we are changing these subject pronouns that are the subject of the sentence to object pronouns. Other examples. Let's take a look at other examples. Henry Ford invented the Model T car. Okay? So we change it to passive voice and it becomes Model T car was invented by Henry Ford. So we are using the object of the sentence, then the verb to be was, plus the past participle of the verb invented, and then the agent by Henry Ford. So what is the rule? Someone does something is active voice. For example, Henry Ford built a car. Yeah? Passive voice. Something is done by someone. The car was built by Ford. Okay, so you're using here the verb to be plus the past participle of the verb. Okay. Now, look at this. Dynamite and Alfred Nobel. Dynamite was discovered by Alfred Nobel. So we are using something is done by someone. So dynamite was discovered by Alfred Nobel. The light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison. Okay. What is the light bulb? El foco. Fue inventado por Thomas Edison. The telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell. Okay. The computer was invented by Alan Turing. Alan Turing. America was discovered by Christopher Columbus. Radioactivity was discovered by Marie Curie. La radioactividad fue descubierta por Marie Curie. The bicycle was first designed by John Kemp Starley from England. Okay. The sewing machine, o sea, la máquina de coser, was invented by Elias Howard Jr. Okay. So do you see the passive voice is mostly used when you talk about inventions, important historical events, things like that. So active voice. In the sentence with active verbs, the subject is the doer and the object is the receiver of the action. Okay? Subject, a student. Found is the verb and a bag is the object on the bus. Passive voice. In sentences with the passive verbs, the subject is the receiver of the action. So we use the passive verbs to focus on the receiver. For example, when we change this sentence to passive voice, a bag is the object of the sentence And when we change it to passive voice, it becomes the subject. A bag was found, verb to be in the simple past plus past participle of the verb, on the bus. And you can add by a student if you want at the end. Okay? Good. So let's see. So look at what it says here. This is an example taken from Cambridge. Okay? In sentences with active verbs, the subject is the doer and the object is the receiver of the action. Use active verbs to focus on the doer or cause. For example, a student found a bag on a bus. The authorities closed the airport. A teenager saw two bears in a yard. The accident didn't injure the passengers. In sentences with passive verbs, the subject is the receiver of the action. We use passive verbs to focus on the receiver, or when the doer or cause is not known or not important. A bag was found on a bus. So a student found a bag on the bus. A bag was found on the bus. The authorities closed the airport. The airport was closed. A teenager saw two birds in a yard. Two birds were seen in a yard. And the accident didn't injure the passengers. The passengers weren't injured. So you can use the verb to be in negative. Weren't and wasn't. Okay? Good. Completed sentences using the simple past passive. So all of them are in the simple past passive. So look, it says, a 500-pound bird was found asleep in a basement on Tuesday morning. The bear, oh, hold on, let's make a correction here. Was woken up. There you go. The bear was woken up. There you go. Okay. There you go. Very good. Okay, so there you go. Yeah. So, the bear was woken up, verb to be plus the past participle of the verb, by a workman, who said he freaked when he realized it was a bear. Wildlife officers were called and the bear was taken to a state park. Okay, so in this whole sentence, we're using, in this whole paragraph, I'm sorry, we're using passive voice simple past. Number 2, a sporting goods store was broken into yesterday and 50 bicycles were stolen. So, a sporting goods store quiere decir una tienda de deportes fue robada ayer y 50 bicicletas fueron robadas. A white truck was seen outside the store around 5 a.m. However, security cameras were damaged during the break-in, so the thieves weren't caught on camera. ¿Ya? O sea, un camión blanco fue visto y las cámaras de seguridad fueron dañadas. Entonces los ladrones nunca fueron captados en la cámara. Okay? Very good. Millions of stolen banknotes were found in a police raid this morning. Police believe the money was stolen from a city bank 2 years ago. Okay? The highway was closed for several hours last night after a car was hit by an oil truck. Hundreds of gallons of oil were spilled. O sea, la gasolina se regó. Litros de gasolina se regaron en la carretera. Two passengers in the car were taken to the hospital. O sea, dos pasajeros fueron llevados al hospital. Were taken to the hospital. Okay? The driver of the truck wasn't injured. O sea, el chofer del camión no fue, afortunadamente no fue herido. Okay? So as you can see in these paragraphs, most of them, they don't have a doer of the action. We don't have an author. So that's why they are in simple past passive. And look, all of them have the same formula. Was or were plus the past participle of the verb. And we are telling a story in the past. Okay? Look, write sentences using the prompts given on the simple past passive. Look at the first one. A dinosaur bone was found in a storage box at the museum this week. The bone was identified as a new species of dinosaur. Two main subway lines were closed yesterday for a second day. Repairs to the lines weren't completed on time. A live show in New York was cancelled last night after the lead singer fell off the stage. Ticket holders weren't refunded. Es decir, los tickets no fueron devueltos. Police were called to an apartment after neighbors heard strange sounds. A raccoon was trapped inside the apartment. It was removed by animal services. So do you see most of these sentences? They don't have a doer. The important thing is the action itself. Lo que importa aquí es la acción, ¿ya? Y quién recibe la acción, no quién la realiza. Okay? Very good. And let's go to the last one. It says, complete the sentences using the simple past passive forms of the verbs from the books. Use each verb only once. Okay? So it says, the airport was closed for 5 hours before because of the fog. O sea, el aeropuerto fue cerrado por 5 horas debido a la neblina. Police reported that several homes were broken into over the weekend. O sea, la policía reportó que varias casas fueron robadas. ¿Ya? En la primera no estoy diciendo quién cerró el aeropuerto, en la segunda no estoy diciendo quién robó esas casas. Authorities say that recent wildfires were caused by lightning. ¿Ya? Es decir, muchos incendios fueron causados por los rayos. Several computers were stolen from high school. Varias computadoras fueron robadas de la escuela secundaria. Emergency workers were called right away after the accident. Los trabajadores fueron llamados después del accidente, enseguida. A child was rescued from a burning building by firefighters. Un niño fue rescatado. Traffic was delayed for hours because of the snowstorm. El tráfico fue retrasado debido a la tormenta de nieve. A rare bear was seen in a local park. Un pájaro raro fue visto en un parque. And a minor earthquake was felt across the city last night. O sea, un pequeño temblor fue sentido en la ciudad anoche. Okay? So do you see most of these sentences, they don't mention the doer of the action and they are focused on the action itself. O sea, ese es el enfoque del passive voice, que aquí nos enfocamos en la acción y en quién recibe la acción o qué recibe la acción, más no quién la realiza. So remember, the passive is used in any tense. So right now we are just studying present passive and past passive. So we use the present passive to talk about facts that are true these days for key figures of countries around the world. ¿Ya? Es decir, usamos el passive voice en presente para hablar de qué, de hechos que son verdad estos días. ¿Ya? ¿Ya? O también, o para hablar de, inclusive para hablar de geografía, de características geográficas en el mundo, ¿ok? For example, English is spoken by many people around the world. That is a fact. Or diamonds are mined in South Africa, okay? This is a key feature of, for example, of a continent, of a country, because South Africa is a country, okay? And the past passive is to talk about famous landmarks, monuments, works of art, historical events, processes, recipes, how something is made. Es decir, el passive voice en pasado se utiliza para hablar de monumentos. Landmarks quiere decir de características geográficas, works of art, ¿cómo es? Trabajos artísticos, ¿ok? Historia del arte, historical events, eventos históricos, y procesos como por ejemplo recetas, por ejemplo, cómo se hace el papel, cómo se hace el chocolate, cómo se hace el café, ese tipo de procesos, cómo se hace algo, ¿ya? Ok, and that's it. Thank you, and that's it for now. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I will see you in the next tutorial about Unit 12, Lesson B. We're going to continue with passive voice and adverbs as well. Okay, so I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye, and take care.